Before we get started, YouTube had a bit of an issue over the last few days, not just with our channel, not just with Hammer's Chat, with quite a few channels. The videos are not appearing in the subscribers box, so if you're subscribed, great. If you haven't, do so. About 40% of you that watch this won't be subscribed to the channel. Just get subscribed. But also, click the bell to get a notification and all that. But do keep checking the channel, because I've had it myself. There's a few channels I've subscribed to and I've missed their videos because it's not coming up on my subscription feed. Broken YouTube, not good enough. So people are missing out on some of our videos, so do go back and check because you might have missed some. Also, tomorrow night, 8 o'clock on this channel, we're doing a quiz. We've done a little trial earlier for the patrons. It went well-ish. I made a little error, but I know what I did. It's fine. It's fine. Tomorrow will be good. So 8 o'clock, myself and Gonzo will be hosting a quiz on this channel. Bring your pen, bring your paper, leave your Google to one side, and come and join us, and hopefully we can have a little bit of fun. Anyway, that's all the business over and done with. Let's get into the video. So, Declan Rice was linked to Chelsea earlier this week. Again, he's always linked to someone, isn't he? The journalists need to write something. This is a bit 2 plus 2. Instead of making 5, I think it makes 4.1 maybe. I don't think they're too far away. This is an easy rumour. Sometimes journalists can come up with just utter rubbish, don't they? They just come up with something you think, what on earth was that? Disregard it. And we do that quite a lot when we do these. We may go on to do a cup of tea or whatever. We'll laugh at some of the rumours and we'll disregard it immediately. The Rice one, it's an easy rumour for a journalist to make up here because of his past with Chelsea. And I guess the question is, if the season ended today, which there's a possibility, we'll come on to that in a second, would Chelsea want Declan Rice? I'm not convinced. I am not convinced, and that is nothing against Declan Rice whatsoever. It's purely because Jorginho and Kovacic have both really stepped up this season. They've been good players. Under Sarri they were iffy, but I think under Lampard both of them have just been absolutely fantastic. So do they really need to spend big money on someone to play defensive midfield? I don't think so. I don't think that's going to be their priority this window, which benefits us a little bit. However, there's been comments from Declan over the last few days as well about playing centre-back. He basically said that he's enjoying playing centre midfield, although he used to play centre-back, and he could see himself playing centre-back in the future. Now that's something that I'm probably reading too much into. A bit of a concern for me, because I think, why would someone say that? Is it because he's eyeing up a move to play centre-back for Chelsea? I don't think so. But I do think it's about keeping his options open as a player in terms of his positioning. But I just think you've got that position, defensive midfield, at West Ham for years to come. It's his. It's solid. Unless he goes through a really bad turn of form or injury or something, that's his position. So I just thought it was a bit of a weird thing to say. But I guess he's just trying to remind everyone he's versatile and he can play there for West Ham if he needs to. But back to the Chelsea thing, I'm not convinced they need him. But what concerns me slightly more with this is the official, unofficial sources, as I call them, the people that know people at the club. When they get these rumours, they go and try and verify something with someone at the club and say, what do you make of this and stuff? And obviously the question would have been probably put to them as, would we sell Declan? Now, I'd like to think they would say no. I expect them to say no. However, it wasn't necessarily the case. But also, we've got to remember that this summer transfer window is going to be a very strange one. One, we don't even know when it is yet. There's talk of FIFA extending it until January. The whole summer, all the way up until January, for obvious reasons. Two, I think everybody's going to be a bit poor. I think there's a lot of pressure on Premier League clubs at the minute in terms of finances, because obviously we might have to pay some back to the Sky Sports and BT. I mean, I'd imagine Sky Sports have taken an absolute whack at the minute because you can pause your subscription. I imagine a lot of people have taken them up on that option, and their income for Sky Sports is going to be dramatically lower. So they're also going to be wanting a bit of a refund, which they're entitled to, as is BT. And then obviously the league are going to turn around to the Premier League clubs and say, well, you've got to pay back essentially. Big black hole in the finances of all 20 Premier League clubs. Not only that, there's a bit of pressure on them in terms of their wages here, which is, can all the players continue to get paid 100%? Now, I think the Premier League are discussing things with the union and player reps and stuff is to see what they can do, what they can come up with as an agreement, because there's a bit of pressure when you look at Germany at the minute, those players are quick to sort of drop some wages. A lot of the big clubs have put, I can't remember how much it is, maybe 25 million I think it is. I think there's 5 clubs: Leverkusen, Leipzig, Munich, Dortmund. I think there was one more. Apologies to whoever it might be, but I think there was 5 clubs. They've all put up about 25 million between them to help people affected by coronavirus, but also the Bundesliga 2 clubs, the lower league clubs in Germany. This pot of money is for them. So there's a bit of a peer pressure now starting to form on the Premier League, which is A, how much wages are your players dropping, B, what's the Premier League clubs doing to help other people and stuff. And I think that finances things, there's more to come from that. I think they're in discussions at the minute. But that's going to have a kickback, that's going to have a knock-on effect on every club's transfer spend. Who's going to miss out the most? I've seen there is a fact that out of all the 20 current Premier League clubs, if you took away their TV money, it's actually Bournemouth that struggle. Bournemouth are the ones that their money is gone. What they're going to do, because obviously their capacity is the smallest in the Premier League. So what would Bournemouth do? And they're relatively big spenders. Of course, they've got a big backing, but it's going to be crunch time. So I just can't see Declan Rice going this summer. It's not because he's not good enough, not because no club want him, just because they're going to have to pay a lot of money, and it's strange times financially in the world of football, even at Premier League clubs, which has been cash rich at times. And a lot of people have often spoke about the Premier League finances bubble, saying that one day the bubble's going to burst. Now, I don't think anyone expected this to happen, granted, and it's happening worldwide rather than specifically to the Premier League. But I think a lot of the clubs are maybe going to reevaluate a little bit. They're going to. The rule of thumb in the Premier League is you're healthy financially if you spend 60% of your income on wages. 60%, rule of thumb, good. That's healthy. It's what you want. You're not spending too cheap, therefore your squad's probably not that good, and you're not spending too much. I wouldn't be surprised if that percentage drops, or the aim of Premier League clubs will be, let's get this down to 50% or something, because if this happens again in the future, you want to be safeguarded a bit more. But the worrying thing is, I'm not very good at this one-on-one thing. Gons is better than I am, but I wanted to talk about this because I've seen a story earlier tied into Declan Rice one, but the official sources said that West Ham's price for Declan Rice, I thought, hang on a minute, we've got a price all of a sudden, 70 to 90 million. Bit vague, isn't it? 70 to 90 million. If you came to me and said, I would like to buy your TV off you, I wouldn't say, well, 300 to 500 pounds, please. I mean, there's a big discrepancy there. So 70 to 90 million. I think Chelsea will say, well, I'll have the 70 million one, please, thank you. Now I get what they're trying to say. Aim for 90, we'll accept 70. Not really something you should put out, but it's unofficial, isn't it? It's not really from the club, but might be from the club. 70 million, I think it's a fair price, to be honest with you. I know a lot of people are going to say, oh, no, 100 million and stuff, but I think 70 million's a very fair price for Declan Rice. Would I accept it? No, I'm not saying I would accept it, but taking my claret and blue specs off, looking at his age, his talent, his ability, his potential, the fact he's in the England squad, I think 70 million is a fair price for a player of that calibre. But this is where, and I'm a bit concerned because of the West Ham finances, that if a bid was to come in for Declan, we'd be under a bit of pressure here. But that was all done, so I moved it to the side. Right, done, sorted, happy days. Then today, there's an article. Issa Diop's now been linked to a couple of clubs, Arsenal in particular. Understandable. I think Arsenal need centre-backs. I don't think what they've got is good enough. I think Arteta wants to play football a certain way. He probably wants to get some younger players in so he can build something. He was obviously playing under David Moyes, and Moyes brought players in and built a project at Everton over a long scale. Pep, not so much, but Pep went out there and bought the best of the best and put them together into a squad. So I think Arteta is probably going to try and do something in the middle, which is buy players that are going to be the best of the best, not quite there yet. So he will get them in and he will build a project. So eventually his squad will be world class. That's got to be the aim at Arsenal. So when I seen Arsenal linked to Issa Diop, I thought, okay, journalist, that's quite a good shot. Well done. Fair play to you. Good link to make. Feasible. There's something in that. But I then saw an article from the same official sources saying that hands off Diop. That was very much the title. The Declan Rice one was 70 million. This Diop one was hands off. Top source confirmed. We have no interest in selling this to Diop. Well, that's a different tone to the Declan Rice story, isn't it? Two completely different things. It did say the minimum price would be 60 million, but it didn't have a range of price. It didn't have 60 to 80 million or 60 to 70 million. There was none of that. It was sort of... And I just thought the two tones was different. And am I reading too much into it? I'm not really reading that much into it, to be honest. Just wanted an excuse to do a video to chat about it because it caught my interest. I wanted to discuss it. But I just thought it was different because they'd probably gone to the same person at the club and got two different answers for a very similar scenario on both occasions. Would I accept 60 million for a Diop? Yeah, I would. If you've been on this channel long enough, subscribed to it, watching it, you'll know that every player in football's got a price. It's something I stick by. I always say that, and I will always repeat it in the future as well. So Issa Diop, Declan Rice, they both have prices. And before you say no, they don't, would you accept 500 million for Declan Rice? Yes, you would. Okay, now we've agreed that Declan Rice has a price. We now need to find that price. So 60 million for Diop, for a guy that's had one really good season, one bad half a season, and one decent second half to a season. I think 60 million is fair. I think he'll go on to become a top centre back, by the way. I do think he's got a lot to go. But this is the challenge for West Ham, isn't it? Replace him adequately and use the leftover funds to go get someone else that can improve the first 11. Can we do it or not? Completely different thing. But then we've had the story last week that David Moyes wants to buy British. He wants to buy British and he wants to buy younger players. The British thing I'm a bit iffy with. I'm going to be honest. The younger players, yes. I mean, I get a bit baffled. Do you know when it gets announced? It almost like gets announced with pride. This is our new transfer strategy. We're going to try and buy younger players, as if it's like some magical science they've come up with. You're just using you're doing what other clubs have been doing and what we should have been doing all along. It's not really something to brag about. The fact you've had to announce it proves that you weren't really targeting younger players like you were supposed to be. So that, good, tick box. But the British thing, I find it very restrictive and very expensive. We're now into the waters where I know someone's going to come back at me with Bowen and say we've got a bargain there. Yes, we did. But that player, the equivalent of Bowen from the French league or the German league, is probably 10 million. You don't really get great value. Pardon me. You don't really get great value. You pay a bit more because I think you're getting someone that you know can do it in the country. That's a big thing, really. You're removing the aspect of will he settle. How much do you want to pay for that removal? Quite a bit, I suppose. And the British thing, I suppose if you're going to look at the positions and say we need a left back, which British player we're going to go get? It's not too many. Or if he means staying in the Fulham left back, Joe, how do you pronounce his second name? Bryant. He looks decent. But Jamal Lewis, I suppose. But can you? I don't know. I just find it a bit restrictive, that one. But anyway, I've got some good. I'm going to move on a bit from the transfer stuff. I've got two more things. First thing is a real feel good thing. This is good news. Some good vibes. Mark Noble has donated all of his fee for doing. He does an Evening Standard column every Friday, in the Evening Standard, obviously, and he gets a small fee for it. I don't know what it is. I doubt it's much. So I think it's a contract. It must be a contract with the club because Slav used to do it, didn't he? I don't think Pellegrini did. Yeah, Pellegrini did do it, I think. Now Noble's got it, and Noble's donated his whole fee for the season to the food bank at Newham. The Newham food bank is getting Mark Noble's fee. So nice one, Skipper. Good news, positive. We like that. The Football League's been cancelled. Anything below Football National League, done. Purged, I think they're calling it. Voided to me and you. I prefer the word voided. Bit clearer. No promotion, no relegation. Pretend this season never happened. So that's quite. We're starting to creep up the pyramids a little bit here. What's the Football League must be the 5th tier, right? Premier League, Championship, League 1, League 2, Football Leagues, and then you've got Football League North and Football League South, haven't you? So I don't know if they're included under the same umbrella. I think it's stage 9, I think it said. Charlie's in the live chat trying to wind me up. Anyway, so yeah, that's been cancelled, which is interesting a little bit because someone had to move first, and it's easier to move when you're that lower down, I guess. And I think it maybe just throws the thing out there to the Premier League because they can now see how the fans are reacting to this news. And I know it's on a much lower scale in terms of everything, in terms of fan base, in terms of supporters, in terms of eyes on, in terms of TV deals, finances. I'm aware of that, but it does give them a little tester. I would be surprised if the Football National League is also done as well, stopping at League 2, and then we'll have a little think about the English Football League. There's some random questions coming in. I'll take a few at the end. I don't like doing this thing. I like to keep them for the cup of tea, but we don't know when we're going to plan, so I'll take a couple at the end. And one more thing, and then I'll take a couple more to... Actually, no, I'll do this first. Kev says, do you think the virus will affect foreign players leaving their own country in future, long term or just short term? It's a damn good question, I think, because players move for money, don't they? The money is the number one priority. The number two priority is probably exposure. The Premier League's the biggest stage in world football, I believe. So if you go there, happy days, you're up there. It's probably better in terms of exposure. I'm maybe being a bit naive here, but I think it's better to play for Norwich City this season than it is to play for Frankfurt. Frankfurt were in European football, but they're not one of the giants of German football, are they? So I reckon if you were to go to France, Italy, and Spain, and ask them to name Frankfurt players and Norwich City players, I would, in all honesty, expect them to name more Norwich City players, despite the fact that Frankfurt's better than Norwich City. So the Premier League's there. I guess it's just, will they hesitate? I think so. But at the same time, I don't think it'll stop them. Short term, we might see a small effect, but long term, Kev, I think it'll be back to normal within a couple of years of the virus going, that is. I'm not saying a couple of years of today. Once the virus is gone, I think everything shall continue. I don't know if Marko Natovic has got coronavirus, Thomas. I'm not sure. Hopefully not. But I'm going to finish this. I'm going to finish. Charlie's asking who spoke about Joe Bryan first. It was you, Charlie. It was you. I'll give you that one. For the first time, you come up with a good suggestion of a player. Nah, he's all right, Charlie. He knows his stuff. So West Ham are due back in training in 2 weeks, the 10th of April. Can't see it happening, and to be fair, I don't think West Ham can see it happening either. But just in case someone says, what are the players doing? They're at home. They're at home doing their own training regime, as is every other Premier League club at the minute. So they've written off the next 2-3 weeks. They streamed the Man United game, the last game up in Park. They streamed that earlier. I watched the first bit, then I had a bit of a quiz to do. But I'm going to watch the rest of it, actually. I've not watched that game since it actually happened. So it's quite emotional, I guess. Emotional. Frustrating, perhaps. But I want to end this video on a very serious note, I'm afraid. I've tried to keep it quite positive and cheery. But it's a very serious one. And that is, I don't like to speak for... I say I don't like to. Never. Myself or Gonzo. We don't like to speak for anyone. Or sorry... Let me start this again. We don't like to speak for everyone involved with Hammers Chat. So I don't like to speak for Charlie, I don't like to speak for Gonzo and vice versa. But on this occasion I'm gonna speak for everyone from Hammers Chat, and that is, we would like to send our condolences to Stephen and Tim, who both lost their mum on Mother's Day to coronavirus. It's the first person I've known that's been personally impacted by the virus, and unfortunately I don't think it's going to be the last either. But people out there, there's going to come a time where you look back in the last week or two, there's a time where the penny has dropped with you, or if it hasn't already, please let this be the moment, because it's going to drop at some point as to how serious this is. It might have been tonight when everybody on your street was outside clapping for the NHS, but Stephen and Tim both lost their mum on Sunday on Mother's Day. John lost his wife. didn't get to say goodbye to her really. You know, she obviously goes into isolation because she's got the virus. So it's a sad time. And Stephen done quite a bit for this channel. When we first started, he was the chairman of West Ham Ladies, as it was at the time before they got taken on by the club because of Stephen. So Stephen was the chairman of West Ham. If you go back and watch Charlie's memories video after this video, one of Charlie's, or maybe two of Charlie's memories, is about having the run of Upton Park, if you like. Would never have happened without Stephen. He watched some of our videos in the early days, and he basically got in touch, you know, he spoke to us and stuff, and he basically said, you boys are good at what you're doing, come be my media team, essentially, for the West Ham Ladies at the time. So he took a bit of a punt on us, and we've kept in touch ever since. So 5 years now we've been in touch with Stephen regularly enough and stuff. So it was quite sad, obviously, to read that his mum passed, and especially to this virus horrible time. But I just wanted to send our condolences to him, because when sometimes I think people say we're thinking of you at this time, and it can be a bit empty, but this time we do actually mean it, because it's people we know, and it does strike a different chord when you know them personally. So sorry to end it on such a serious note, but if the penny hasn't dropped for you yet, please let tonight be the penny that drops. Anyway, hopefully I shall see you tomorrow night for the quiz at 8 PM, where we're going to be ramping the fun up a little bit. It's a West Ham quiz, but we're trying to make it as fun as possible. Please leave Google to one side, get a pen and paper, come join us in the live chat, interact with other people that subscribe to Hammer's Chat, and I'll see you tomorrow night. Thank you for joining me.